Welcome back to Epic Execution. And today is exceptionally exciting for me because it's been a year since I met this next guest. And let me tell you, I met her in the Startup World Cup in Melbourne. And one of the funny things about a competition is when someone only has 2 minutes to pitch. But there was something about this person that I just knew was special. And in fact, whilst another team won, I felt like that was a very safe bet. And between 2 minutes, it's incredibly difficult to actually capture and, more importantly, differentiate between the founder and the idea. And when you've only got 2 minutes, it's very important to really stop looking at slides, stop looking at what they said, but think about how they think. And that's why when I was flying back to flying back from Melbourne to Sydney, I knew something was bugging me, and it was this young lady, Holly Fowler from Wable.
You're a legend.
And, like it's even really hard to get the right pick on people, but and even when people get distracted with traction and they say, and I call that actually maths revenues, often that's the wrong type of revenue you think about. But welcome to the show, Holly.
Thank
You
you.
are absolutely exceptional. And oh my God, I want to hear about the year that was because I
Man,
knew that you were going to be special and you have done nothing but, kick goals.
too kind. What an intro. I'd like to have you come into all my meetings, actually. If you could just do that ahead of like all pictures coming out, that'd be great. That was actually really fun, but that was nerve-wracking for me. And I'd done like a lot of, I guess, public speaking before that, but I found that pitch night actually to be really stressful. But I'm the best, it was one of the best parts about it was that our paths crossed. So I'm stoked to be on your podcast. But the year that was that, when was that? January, February? What month
Well,
were
I think
we?
it was about June actually,
It was
and
June.
like
Okay. Because I was
we've
going
got
to
to
say,
we
I
got
was
to
like,
throw in things like their Forbes under
wow,
30, and like you just like kick goal, go on.
it's kind of been a little bit
Oh, you
nuts.
have to get your horn occasionally. You've done great.
Well, June happened, and obviously this pitch was, I think, what was I, one of 10 startups that got chosen to pitch, and then out
No,
of
you're
that,
actually one of 135 that got chosen
oh,
to pitch,
oh
and
boy.
then
And
10
then,
got to pitch,
yeah.
and then you were one of the 10.
And I'm a little competitive, and I really wanted that ticket to San Fran to pitch for that $1 million because I was off my second raise, so I was dirty on that. I was like, damn it, something to prove. But it was a great experience, and thankfully, I think it must have been a month after that I closed my second round of 1.5 million. So it was all good, thankfully. Although I would have still liked the experience of Silicon Valley, but alas, here we are. And then, yeah, I think close that. Forbes 30 under 30 was kind of wild. I remember I was having like actually a terrible day, and I was driving to a meeting and I got a notification on my phone saying, congratulations, Forbes 30 under 30. And I pulled my car over and was like, what? This is a scam. Like, this isn't real. And then like, I Googled like Forbes 30 under 30 Holly Fowler, and then it was real. And what is going on? But that is kind of the journey of Wable to date. Very high, crazy moments like that, and really shitty, tough moments as well. So,
That's the life of
you
a
know,
startup founder, hey?
you take it, yeah, exactly. It's quite the ride. And now, I guess, as we speak, to the end of last year, I flew to Dubai to meet some investors. I flew to the US to meet some potential investors and partners, and somehow wound up pitching to Timbaland, the music producer, and Derek Jeter. Like
Not somehow, not somehow,
the
not somehow.
craziest things have happened. But now, as we speak, I've moved to New York to scale Wable here in the US. So a lot has changed since last time we spoke.
Absolutely. You have absolutely nailed it. So, and you began in radio too. You've done some work and and I think that's really often
Yeah.
underplayed how important communication skills are in a founder.
Really. Yeah, I think so. And just the ability to be a good storyteller, I think, is crucial, especially now in a time where people aren't necessarily reading big emails anymore. People want to see short form video content that they can watch for 30 seconds before they get bored. And so I think you have to be a really good storyteller, and maybe some of that comes from radio. But like, even, if I think back to radio, like nothing was ever good enough. I got into radio and I worked a graveyard shift, and then graveyard shift wasn't good enough. I had to have a breakfast show. Then I got a breakfast show, and just as I got that, I was like, this is my dream job. And then I had the idea for Wable. So I think just that ability of like nothing ever being quite there is driven me to build Wable, but also just to build it beyond an idea, I guess, and weather all the storms that come with having a startup, I guess.
Well, you've done that really well. So, and I guess like the things like getting in the room with Timberland and being able to knock down doors. And I feel like this is really important because a lot of people will ask permission or be afraid to do things, and I feel like that holds people back a lot. And it was one of the things I spotted with you was like, there's just no for an answer. Like it's just going to happen. So how
Yeah.
did confidence inherent, or do you just say, "I got nothing to lose," or what is it about you, or did you always like to say, "I'm gonna be the captain," or I'm gonna like, what? Where did this come from? Because, like, people need to bottle this.
Yeah. I mean, not to toot my horn, but I think that probably has gotten me everywhere. And it definitely started like from a very young age. I kind of always had that attitude or something to prove, like sort of that underdog kind of thing. I grew up in a very small country town, and I grew up with a single dad, and he owned the local pub. And I even gave myself a job in year one of holding the door open to the pub for all the tradies to come in, and I would welcome them and say, you can take this seat. These are wild characters coming to the pub. So I think I've always had that attitude of just approaching anyone, not having any kind of ego about that, or like, I don't know how I see it, but I believe so deeply in myself and what I give to this business and the business that I'm like, why wouldn't these people be interested regardless of whether you're Grammy nominated or not? So it was wild. I actually flew to Dubai to pitch to a guy by the name of Mike Evans, who is Timberland's manager, and he was blown away. He's now on the cap table, but I connected with Tim through him, or Timberland, and he was like, can you meet me? He had a show in Washington, D.C., and was like, can you please meet me in Washington, D.C.? And I pitched in the lobby restaurant of his hotel with one of his people was at the meeting as well. It was kind of crazy. And the meeting was at 5 p.m. And so I left New York at, I think, 10 a.m., but it's a 2-hour train. Sweet. I'm going to get there with so much time. I would be able to relax. I'll check out DC a little bit, and then I'm going to nail this pitch with Timberland. Anyway, lo and behold, and this is my luck. Like, this would not happen to anyone else. My train hit a turkey. And so the train fully broke down, like on the way, and I'm thinking, oh, it's fine, I got plenty of time. It must have been 11 o'clock by this point. I'm thinking, oh no, should be sweet. It was on the tracks for like 3 hours. I ended up arriving 10 minutes before my meeting with Tim, sweating by the time I got to the lobby. So it wasn't the prepared, relaxed pitch I had planned for, but like that just wouldn't happen to anyone else.
No, that is insane. You really did get the turkey, but, and look, I mean, I just wanna go a little bit deeper on that because I feel like so many people that succeed just have this innate communication skill, but did something happen to you, or was there any training or anything that you can, on reflection, put this down to that just lets you go out there and that belief, and I
Mm,
feel like, that stat that gets thrown around, that's been around for ages, like only 2% of female founders get funding, but
yeah.
you just know when you see someone who's gonna be successful, or at least I believe I do. I've just looked at 20,000
Thank
pitch
you.
decks and
Yeah.
done this for the last forever. Is there something that you feel that happened to you, or is it training, or is it anything, or is this just like, "This is who I am"? Like, what is
Yeah.
it?
I think I've always had just like an unrelenting like willingness to be the best at whatever I could do, but I was also like, I grew up, like my childhood and like high school years were chaos for the most part. I moved to 5 different primary schools. I went to one high school, I think. I'm a kid of divorce, and my upbringing and then sort of early 20s experienced domestic violence. I've had like a whole range of things that have happened. I'm not trying to, it's not a sob story by any means, but that's true and that's what happened. So I think I grew up and experienced such chaos, but always found, I think, purpose in being good at whatever it was that I was doing. And so I even remember like getting into radio. I worked in the sales team at the radio station, but I used to go and record shit like fake shifts when no one else was in the studio, and I had them on a USB, and I kept just taking them to the producers saying, listen, listen, listen. And I think by the end, they just gave me a slot because they were like, I wish you'd stop like
Did you
bringing in
stop doing this?
USBs. And so I think like that started, but it's a belief in myself that I can do it. And I think that has definitely transitioned in. Then I was in sports radio, and at that time there weren't many females on air in sport at all. And so I was like one of few at the time. And I was really proud of that. And it took like a long time to get there. And I was in rooms with people I never could have imagined. And now I'm doing that tenfold. But I think it's always just that attitude of like, I'm the best person to do this. And I think
Sure.
that comes through just like weathering enough storms that you're like, no one else would be crazy enough to have weathered the storms I have. I have to be the best person for this role. And that's gotten me everywhere. I've not always been the smartest person in the room. A lot of this stuff I've learned. I'm a first-time founder. If you'd asked me what a cap table was 5 years ago, I wouldn't have known a thing. And now I've found myself in a totally different place. I'm adaptable. I love to learn, constantly curious, and I'm always trying to stay, well, I need to transition from this a little bit, but I'm always in all different parts of the business learning at all the same time. And I think that has really gotten me everywhere.
Absolutely. Now, I'm almost a little bit embarrassed to say what the heading of my notes section on this is with. It's I hope you don't hate me on this, but it's the mongrel and the microphone. I mean, like,
Oh,
honestly, there was just something about your tenacity that came through. But I just curious as to if you can take us back to, before Wable and before even funding and Forbes, etc. You're in lockdown and you
yeah.
spotted, don't want to bring anyone
The
back to
L word.
the L word, the L word.
Don't swear at me.
Congratulations, Victoria. World's longest. Sorry,
Yeah.
Victorians.
Yeah.
And you saw Michael Theo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was wild.
that was wild.
I was working from home at the time. I remember, I'm pretty sure I was in my track pants. It was like business up top, party down the bottom. Like everyone was doing that for Zooms. And I remember I was like, oh, I've got half an hour lunch break. I'll just switch on. Everyone's talking about this new show, Love on the Spectrum. I'll just chuck it on. And at that time, it was an ABC show until Netflix bought the rights and sort of blew it up later. The same producer, Kenney, is brilliant. I met him last month in LA. But I just watched this show and Michael was just incredible. And witnessing him, experience his first date on national television on the show as someone who'd never had a girlfriend before, and the way he was just so honest and authentic about his challenges as someone on the spectrum, I thought was so refreshing and so needed at the time. And then he went on the Ellen show, and then I'm pretty sure I think Kim Kardashian had posted something about him, and he just blew up, and everyone was just falling in love with his story and his family and his openness. And so I DM'd Michael from my couch because by this point I was kind of looking at the modern dating social apps going, this is a huge gap here. And by the way, the neurodivergent community, you could say is a niche in a sense, but it's 20% of the population at least that we know of diagnosed. It's like over 1 billion people. It's 1 in 5 people in America are neurodivergent now. And the diagnosis rates are going up. It's probably closer to 40% approximately that we'll see. So to me, I felt like there was such an unmet, obvious need that I was shocked that no one was paying attention to the community. But I feel like culturally we weren't really there yet. But I think Love on the Spectrum was a real moment in time where I think this community really started having its time in the sun. And I was right, because a couple of years later in Australia that they released the draft autism strategy. Now we're looking at neuro-inclusive employment and workplaces, and Love on the Spectrum just went #1 on Netflix in the US a couple of months ago in season, I think it's 4 or 5 now. So I think what I've witnessed over this time as I came up with the idea for Wable is a movement around neurodivergence as a whole. So I think it was a good idea, good timing, and an epic ambassador. Michael,
Yeah,
what a
absolutely.
legend. Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's not, and it doesn't just end there. Like, you have really surrounded yourself. And by the way, congratulations on your website. I showed this to a friend of
Thank
mine,
you.
Jane. She goes, "Oh my God, she's unbelievable." And this
You
is
should have seen it a couple of years ago. The first website I made, it was so bad, like so bad. And I launched with it. I was just launched with the landing page because you have to just start.
you have to just start.
And
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean,
the
everyone
thing
can
is,
only have one landing page, and you're gonna get it wrong most of the time, but you have
no, that,
absolutely nailed it. Please
oh,
check it
thank
out,
you.
like, it is so good. The positioning and messaging is so
That's so
quaint.
nice.
Love it, love it, love it.
Having Michael involved was just so genius in a way because, and I think a lot of founders could take a little hint out of this, is like, you don't have to have a marketing budget to blow up what you're doing. You just have to get a bit creative. And, I brought Michael on as a shareholder and said, will you help me? Like get this app out there? I've got this great idea, but it's a great idea. Everyone has great ideas. You have to get people to actually get on board, and who better to do that than Michael? And so we got Michael on board, and then all of a sudden we're Current Affair and Today's Show, The Project. And so we got viral media. By the way, $0. If you have a good enough story and a great ambassador that everyone wants to speak to, you can play them off to each other. Hey, I'll offer you the exclusive. Hey, how about this? How about that? Like, it is not that. That's just getting a little bit creative. Then I did the same thing with Aisha Scott from Below Deck, who I'm
My
sure we'll
God,
speak about,
my wife
who's the
loves her.
best.
Yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah,
the coolest.
yeah.
And
So
then
you've got this knack of attracting really good people.
yeah, and then Tanner Smith from the US season of Love on the Spectrum, who everyone adores all over the world, but particularly
And
in
also
the
my old mate,
US.
Amy Green, like,
Yes,
we were working partners ages
he's
ago.
a legend. And so many people align to this, whether it's like ambassadors, investors, partners. Like, neurodivergence it touches everyone in some way. So it's not hard to find people to connect with it. But that, like, ambassador piece has really been everything for us, because to date we've been reliant on organic growth, which is good to be able to show investors, like, hey, here's what I've done when I've spent $0. If you write me a check, here's what I can do. It's not like, a problem looking for a solution. Then at that point you've proven a little bit what you can do. So we did the same thing with Tanner. We just had a partnership with the Yankees, which cost, again, $0. They have a sensory room at the stadium, and we took Tanner down there as our ambassador. We were out on batting practice and touring the sensory room. Like, these things just happen when you get the right people in the room. So we've been really lucky to get those amazing people involved, and Aisha is such a legend. You'd love her.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I guess that, I mean, from the 1 in 5 people, and even, as you said, up to 40%, like, I know that almost everyone listening, but I love your definition of neurodivergent, and particularly then what trust you had to build to have that community. Like, this is incredibly different because, and I feel like from Melbourne, there was just so many people that were going, this is just another dating app. I'm going, rubbish, rubbish. Like,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, neurodivergent is really an umbrella term that encapsulates all kinds of different neurotypes, but mostly autism, ADHD, dyslexia, OCD, or if any of those or combined together. So, but most of our community are autistic or have ADHD. But, if you're autistic, you're more than likely or more likely to have a secondary diagnosis of ADHD. For us, neurodivergent is a really clean way of describing everyone that's part of that community. And I think that it's like 20% of the population now are diagnosed, but now we're seeing like people talking about neurodivergence so much, and diagnosis and the way a brain operates on TikTok. Like, if you type in neurodivergence on TikTok, you'll see all kinds of people talking about different diagnosis journeys. Some people are self-diagnosing if they don't have the means to to go and do it, because that's a whole other story, and there's a bunch of challenges there. I'm sure you've heard plenty about it in Australia too, but it's a really, really important community. And I think finally, and I think what we're seeing as I've built Wable is a movement where people are finally paying attention to the needs of neurodivergent people. And finally, like, it's kind of, not to say we don't have a long way to go, but one thing I hear the most from people on the app at the moment, and it's so simple, is I feel like I could just be myself here. I can meet someone to go on a date with, or meet a new friend, or I'm going to look for a workplace here because this is built for me. It's not built for the other 4 people out of the 1 in 5. It's built for me. And the community, that means a lot to, because the community have been underserved for so long and ignored that they don't want to go on a platform that is built for the other 4. They want a platform that's built for them, and they want to meet people that understand some of the challenges that they've been through. And so I think when you put it that way, it's like, regardless of how anyone's brain operates or what keeps us up at night or what we struggle with or shine at, everyone just wants to meet someone that gets them and they can just be themselves. And it's so simple, yet it hadn't been done properly. So what an opportunity we have, and what a time to do it when Love on the Spectrum is number 1 on Netflix in the US. Like, that wouldn't have happened. That couldn't have happened 10 years ago. I mean, people most of the time at that point wouldn't have even know what the word neurodivergent maybe meant. So it's cool to see the tide changing, and I'm so happy that I get to be a small part of it. So it's awesome.
I don't think it's going to be a small part, but I want to go a little bit deeper on that, because I feel like you're glossing over what made the community trust. Because I feel like you use the word simple, and I just had an instant. No, it wasn't. Like, to
No,
actually
you're right.
this something that's simple and build something that you couldn't just have, like the pink version or the blue version or the Bumble version
No.
of, or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit of like design thinking?
Yeah, no, for sure. And when I say that, it's classic me downplaying everything. It wasn't easy by any means. And the best thing we did was just involve people from every corner of this community from day one. I'm talking parents of autistic people themselves at all different age groups and stages of life, psychiatrists, occupational therapists, relationship counselors, and sexologists in the disability community. We surrounded ourselves with so many different people at all different arms of the business, particularly development at the very beginning. And our beta test group, who many of which are still speak to us today, were a huge part of that as well. And the best thing about this community is not only are the community sticky because they want to see this platform be theirs and they want to see it do well, they are also so loud about the things that they want, don't want, like, dislike. And if you're a founder who's not offended by any of that, that's gold. And then the decision making, in a sense, it's not easy, the building part and all of that, and that is all complicated, of course, but the decision making becomes easy if you just listen to what people want, and try and move on it as quickly as you possibly can and do it well. And keep engaging. Like, we run surveys all the time. We do speed dating and friending events where I'm there walking around the room, watching people's interactions, asking, how are you using the app? When are you using it? Have you met someone? What's going on? What do you like? I'm still in customer support 5 years later. I have other people working on it too now, and that's great. It's not as heavy lift as it used to be, but I'm still involved. And I think that's the best part, because this community is continuing to change, and so should the product. It shouldn't just be like a set and forget kind of white label app. You can't just do that for this community. So we had like higher safety measures. We have sensory tools in the app so you can change the theme if you have sensory sensitivities. We have a counselor and sexologist on the app who works with the community to guide conversation starters if you don't know what to say next. And like, by the way, I think we've all been there. Like, it's not, putting yourself out there, regardless of whether you're looking for a date or a friend, is difficult, and it's more difficult for this community. So the best thing we did was really, you can't build, there's the saying around the disability and neurodivergent community is nothing for us without us. And I think we've really lived that from from day one and still do. Even Michael and Tana and Aisha, even they're like, yeah, this is cool. I like this. Could you change this? What about this? Everyone is so great with feedback. If you just listen to it, it makes life easy. Yeah, well, kind of. Yeah, in a way, except you're not paying for them.
No,
Which is
that's
great,
right.
which
And
is
they
great
love
for
it.
your cash flow and your financial model. So, no,
Candid stuff. It's
we're
amazing.
really, really, really lucky. So, in a sense, a lot of our users have become ambassadors for us who wear our hats down the street and answer our surveys. And, we have the coolest community ever. It's the
Absolutely.
best.
One of the things that I think is very, very depressing in many ways is like there's just so many people that haven't been able to find partners, and you talk about this, manosphere and all that sort of stuff, and which is just
Hmm.
so tragically, people aren't finding a connection, and there's so much loneliness.
Yeah.
And in fact, I invested in a company a number of years ago because it was about that. It was called Hey Vina, and like insane CEO. But a lot of people also think about there being a cap, or once someone gets a date, or once someone makes a friend,
Mhm.
the journey ends. Now, I know that that's not the case here. So, it's
Yeah.
like one of the things that which I see is different, is there isn't a ceiling here. Like you have like and I've helped many companies go through the $100 million journey, and I'm seeing this here. Where does this community take you? Because I feel like you're doing such a good job on the community side.
Yeah.
And let's dispel this is just a dating app, because it's
Yeah.
nowhere near just that.
Totally. I mean, if we talk from a community perspective, I mean, our community extend across dating, friendship, people looking for jobs. So like the lifetime value of our customer is much longer. But the battle we've had with the dating thing is like obviously love on the spectrum and dates, and media want to talk about the dates and the love stories. And that's great because that is a big problem in and of itself. I mean, Wable exists to solve two problems. One being this community is more lonely than neurotypical people and they're unemployed, and that just creates so many different problems. I mean, when you talk about loneliness, that's a big enough problem facing this community that if we can solve well, we're really on our way. But neurodivergent people right now are 4 times more likely to experience loneliness than a neurotypical person. That's a huge number. But for some reason, whenever we talk about like the loneliness epidemic, the people experiencing it the hardest are almost always left out of the conversation. So it's like, this is kind of insane to me. But this community is so big, and the ceiling from a business sense is also so big because this is it's a huge TAM. It's 1 billion people right now, but growing like more than ever. Like there are more people like being diagnosed as neurodivergent right now than ever before, like this current like generation. So the ceiling is huge, and because it's not the product that's like a log on, log off app. And by the way, I think people are kind of shifting from that a little bit too. I mean, AI plays a part in that. AI is great. I'm a big fan of AI and the things that you can do as far as from a tech perspective. But I think people will come back to really craving that humanness and connection and community now more than ever. You see it in our community, you see it in run clubs, you see it in all sorts of different things that are happening outside of the digital AI realm. So it's kind of interesting to be on both sides of that. But this community is massive and the opportunity is huge. And so I'm just kind of riding that wave as far
Yeah.
and as high as it can take me. So yeah.
And I imagine that, like, I mean, I talk about, having ADHD and
Hmm.
saying a superpower because I'm seriously capable at thinking things and through problems. But to put it into the respect it deserves, like, it's really tiring as well for people with
Yeah.
ADHD. And they
Yeah.
don't wanna, like, sometimes they just get seriously bored, and there's all sorts of challenges in this community that have what are you bringing with you into Wable that is mindful of that experience that they're having and is beyond dating and beyond? Because I feel like I'm looking at the website, and I just love it again, just say it again. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like helping people get jobs, and I could just sort of sense like a few little directional things that and strings you're pulling there. Can you share some of the Wable playbook here?
Yeah, for sure. Well, from one ADHD to another, yes, I was from ADHD. I was reading something the other day. There's a huge percentage of Fortune 500 and they did a study on how many of those people were neurodivergent, and it was massive. Like, if you're a founder, questions are being raised because
It's
I
gonna be a little
think,
bit
like,
crazy for starters.
well, not even that, but just like ADHD is like speak about like a deficit of attention, maybe in something you're not interested in. But if
Yeah.
you're interested in what you're doing and you've got ADHD, like you are all in, like to the point, and you're energized by doing that. Like otherwise we couldn't be pulling all-nighters working on what we're doing. We wouldn't fly across the world pitching to all these people. Like there's no way known you would choose to have so much risk if you weren't kind of all into something. I attribute a lot of that to having ADHD. I also attribute it to being like inherently hard on myself and all of the other not so fun parts of
Yeah.
ADHD, which is
Not all,
awesome if you're being rejected 90% of the time.
not always.
But that comes with it. But yeah, I mean, the way we're thinking about this community and what the community needs is happening all the time. We're changing all the time. I mean, the connection piece is really what we launched with. Like we launched with the dating and the friendship, but there's such a need for this community to find each other and their place in the world. And by speaking to so many users now and parents and support care workers of parents and those people, their number one concern, every single parent that I've spoken to or support care worker goes, I'm concerned about what happens to my loved one after I'm gone. What happens if they don't have a job, if they can't find housing? What happens to their finances? There's so many things other than connecting each other. And that community piece is so important. It will always be at the forefront of what we do. And I think, honestly, our customer or our users join for community and they stay for everything else. And we see that in how people are using the app now. And now, I mean, I call it a social network because it's become a part of our users right now, everyday life. I mean, our users right now, we use the app 2 to 3 times a day for 29 minutes.
That's insane. Like that is like some
Yeah.
serious commitment and love, obviously.
Yeah.
You know?
It speaks to as well, like what this community really like want this and have been craving a solution for so long. And
That's a gold vein, really, when you think about that much user time. It really is.
yeah. I'm still rejected by these investors. I still came second at the
Well,
start. I
don't think you take no for an answer. So, like, you've closed your round, your second round, you've gone to the US. Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of the US, there's been, I don't know if you've followed it in Australia, that we've had this budget, like, and all these founders have, had memes of Albo saying, I now own 47% of this company. You heard about this. You got out, girl. Like, you got out. So,
Well, yeah.
well, let's not go,
I
that's not go up there.
Well,
But
yeah.
I want to ask you this question.
Mm.
So you picked up and you went. Can you talk to us about what you went through to pick up and go?
Well, a really long visa process is the first one, and I'm really lucky that I had a lot of press prior to applying because that was really great for my application and all of that. It's a process though, but there are lots of different options for founders to come to the States and to get a work visa and all of that. So, and there's some great resources to help Aussies land here as well. And so I kind of took
We might
advantage
share those in the notes if that's okay.
of all of those. Yeah, like for example, one of them, and I'll give you a bunch of notes, but one of them is called the American Australian Association. And I went to one of their lunches that the president holds a lunch. I think there were 20 of us. And we all had to go around the room and say who we were and what we're doing and all that kind of thing. He throws to me and he's like, Holly Wable just landed a month ago. What's going on?
You haven't even got a surname now. You're Holly Wable.
Holly Wable, yeah. And it's just so part of my identity now. And he was like, oh, yeah, so tell us what's going on. I was like, well, and at that point, I finally found an apartment. I said, I'm literally on a blow-up mattress in Brooklyn. I'm really glad I'm at this lunch today, but I'm exhausted. Nice to meet you all, basically. And this guy, like 2 seats away, who I didn't know was quite a big investor, was like, I know you from somewhere. Are you from Sydney? And I was like, no, I'm from Melbourne. He's like, oh, I know where you're from. I saw you on Kelly Clarkson a month ago. Right. He's like, I know where he's Aussie and he's lived here for 10 or 15 years. And he's like, oh no, I saw you on the Kelly Clarkson show. I've heard about your app. Love your app. Anyway, a week later, and as of today, he now is on my board. So things just happen quickly. So thank God I went to that lunch. I had a shocking sleep the night before on my blow up mattress.
No turkeys on the railway though that day.
So glad I went, no, just rats on the subway that day, but that's
Just rats on the subway.
Yeah. But no, the transition is difficult, I won't lie, but from applying to actually landing in the US, it was a few months. But when you get here, things just move so fast. And it's like energizing being around people that operate as if there is like no ceiling or there's no limit to what you can do, and being around that. And I'm still learning, because I think the Aussie way, I was talking to someone about this the other day, I think the Aussie way, and a habit I've gotten into, is like hedging my bets a little bit, and you don't want to sing your praises too much because you don't want people to think you're a bit know-it-all, or like, and at least that's the attitude that I'm a country girl at heart. Like that's how, you don't big note yourself too much. That doesn't fly in the US, because people just be like, okay, cool. Like people will just write you off, and everyone is building something, and everyone's doing it hard and fast. So like you have to kind of live and breathe that energy to get somewhere a little bit. But you have Aussies have a bit of an advantage here, because your accent gets you like 5% of the way, and then it's up to you to like deliver. Everyone just wants to hear your accent, and then they'll listen to what you have to say. So I've got that going for me.
Well, I think my friend Venetia Rathod said at a branding thing the other day, she said, you got to speak up. You got to tell people what you're world class at. And she said, because otherwise all of the narcissists and unconscious or even consciously incompetent people take the roles and take the opportunities. Speak up. Do not let anyone hold you back. And I feel like there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah. That's like the biggest difference I've found, that just, you really have to just go in there. And if they say you've got like, most people will take a coffee. Like you could have coffee with, really take your pick of who you want to meet and pitch to or talk to about your bit. Like take your pick. People are very open, but you got one chance, and then you better like follow up, and you better like, it's no like drop them an email 6 months later, hey, it was great to get, like none of that. Like you really have to, if you open the door, you want to like make sure you impress pretty quick and follow, walk the talk as well. Otherwise it'll just be like on to the next cool thing that's coming through. It's cool. It's a cool place to be, and just culturally around neurodivergence is the most perfect timing.
Yeah, so it's not there's the speed there's the access to the market.
Yeah.
It's not a country. Access to capital as well. It's not a country of oligopolies. There's a very deep access to people that want that edge and innovation.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting. I mean, there's 40% roughly of the world's GDP. So there's lots of good things going for it. But you've launched not just in the US, you're UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is not a one-trick pony here. Like we're going everywhere.
Yeah, and growing. Like we still have people going like, when's it coming to Germany and when's it coming and here? So like, I mean, the good part is Wable is needed and can operate everywhere. I think it was this kind of business, you kind of have to have a market share for the app to be enjoyable for people. Like you've got to kind of have a big amount of users in an area, otherwise people will join in Germany right now and be like, well, this isn't really that great for me because there aren't many people here. So I think it's kind of important to follow where your customers are going. And for us, it was obvious. I mean, Australia, then New Zealand, similar privacy laws, similar way you operate business. We naturally picked up New Zealand press because it was just over the ditch. And then Michael was an ambassador. Then we went Aisha, who has a huge US audience, and then Tana, who is like really US audience. So naturally, our customer base followed that, and most people were trying to sign up in the US and the UK. So like, okay, well, that's next. And also the market opportunity here is massive. It's a great place for founders. I love this city, especially now that it's warm. And I feel
you're
like
not wearing your snowshoes anymore, because I think you were,
thank God.
you're under snow when you arrived, weren't you?
That was rough. Like, that was so rough. One day, the whole city shut down and there were no buses, no subways, anything. It's like, well, I guess I'm inside today, but now it's great. Like next week I'm off. This is crazy if it's a year later, because I did the pitch when I met you. And then next week I'm one of, I think, 14 founders who've been pitched to be in this mansion in the Hamptons. And we all have 5 minutes to pitch, but no slides this time. And I think there's hundreds of investors that come. I've never been to the Hamptons, so that will be fun. But yeah, throwing myself back in the deep end once again. So it should
I
be
think
fun.
you've got this. I think you got it.
I hope so. I hope so this time. So we'll see. But um, no, I love the momentum in this city, and for my ADHD brain and how I operate more broadly, I'm fueled off that. So no, I'm loving it.
And so when you think about not everything has gone your way, how do you think about the things that have gone wrong,
Mm.
and those setbacks? So what have you learnt from those? Or are there anything that really surprised you that you go, "I didn't see that coming"? Is there anything that you go, "Well, yeah, I can get through that"? Like, 'cause I feel like that ability to take the setbacks is also important for founders to work through.
Yeah. I mean, uh just to get to launch, like I put myself through so much. I was really lucky that my first two investors joined the board, but I've built this thing on my own. So it was tough, and I was doing it off the side of my day job for so long. So obviously that builds up over time. And as someone who's naturally just like an anxious person who's inherently hard on myself if things aren't perfect, that's a perfect storm for burnout. When we launched on I think it was the 24th of February. On the 22nd of February, I was in the emergency room. I had like a severe sharp pain in my stomach that I thought was like my appendix burst or something. Turns out I had like a cyst that burst in my body, and they said, "Have you been stressed lately? We usually put this down to stress, and you are riddled with like these cysts. Like you need to stay overnight." And I was like, "I can't because I'm actually on a current affair in
Launching
2 days." Yeah, so I left and no one would have known. But I think there's been a million things like that. I mean, there's been times the app has crashed and I've had to stay up all night and work with overseas developers when we operated that way. And there have been a ton of things that have gone wrong along the way. I mean, anyone that says that they launch on day one and everything's perfect is a liar. Fundraising and raising capital I've found to be difficult too. I mean, if a founder says they enjoy like raising capital, I would say
liars.
bull
They're
BS, my
liars.
guy. Like
They're
liars.
liars.
Like
No one loves capital raising.
no, it's shit. I mean, it's great when you get it done, so satisfying, but also like I've had some really tough experiences with fundraising, I'm not gonna lie. One of them, I think it must have been about a year after that, after I ended up in hospital, I actually fractured my foot. I was in a moon boot for 18 weeks, but I had a pitch with someone in Sydney. So I've got the red eye from Melbourne to Sydney in my moon boot. They literally wheeled me up in a wheelchair to the gate. Anyway, went up to this beautiful high-rise building in Sydney for this pitch on my crutches with a moon boot on. I walk in, I think it was 8 a.m. I'd made it on time from Melbourne to Sydney and pitched, and the guy just after half an hour of pitching looked across from the room at me and said, "I'd invest, but not if you're the CEO, because I think you're too young and inexperienced." And I caught that flight home and cried the entire way, and I was devastated.
I mean,
But you get a way thicker skin.
what do you put that down to? Like, I feel like that's like whoever
Yeah,
that was, shame on you. You had
yeah.
half an hour to work it out. Like, this is like,
So it's just kind of, but you get all sorts of different feedback, and you learn what's valuable. Because by the way, there's been plenty of rejections I've had that, including today, because I'm raising again, I got a rejection, but the email that this person sent me was brilliant. They said, "This is where I paused. This is what I really like." And that is helpful as well, because then you work on your next, and you work out like what you need to hone in on and what you should shift and how you should talk about things. And so I think over time, that kind of stuff has worried me less and less, because now I know, like I've completed 2 capital raises. I've been through hell and back to get to this point. Like there's nothing that can be thrown at me now that would bring me down. Like and there's freedom a little bit that comes with that. Like I'm across the other side of the world on my own making this happen. Like nothing that someone's going to say to me that's known me for 30 minutes is going to upset me now at this point. And I think there's a freedom that comes with that. I walk out of the room and I'm like, "You'll probably regret that someday, my guy, but all
totally.
good. Like, thanks for your feedback, you know." And so I think you learn to kind of take
Yeah,
it in your
genius.
stride. Yeah, you take it in your stride a little bit. And I hope that one day for some of those people, I'm that one that got away and they're like, "Oh, damn, I should have, I had the opportunity to invest and I didn't," because that would be really satisfying.
Every
Not to
VC's
say that,
worst nightmare. Every
yeah,
VC.
that's not why you do it, but it would be satisfying.
We're only human. You're only human. So, I
Absolutely.
mean, so with I feel like we can talk, we've known each other well, we can talk about almost anything.
Anything. Oh, yeah. Nothing's off the cards
So,
for me.
I know a lot of female founders, and in fact, I was at an event last night, and so this guy was telling me as well that like there's a real bias with investors, and like investors are people too. But as a female, I hate this female entrepreneur label because you're just an entrepreneur. But is there anything you can share with the ladies listening that you've learnt either the hard way or the easy way about pitching? Because you're really good at it. You don't need me to tell you that, but because you already
Mm,
know. But I would love it if you could just share a few lessons. 'Cause I can't tell you how many pitch competitions are on, and like when people do all this sort of stuff.
yeah,
And it's important to be able to articulate things. So,
yeah,
and I think people get in their heads and overthink things. I love
yeah,
from someone
totally.
I regard as very good at this to share a few little.
I think inherently as women, particularly if you're in a space that's like usually dominated by men, whether it's tech or for me, of course, like my background has sort of always been that. Like I was in sports radio for a while as well. So I think the one thing I've learned is even if you don't feel confident, like work out how to like switch it on in some way if you can. Even if you feel like you're acting a little bit, for me, I mean, it just comes from experience and like belief in what I'm doing that it comes naturally. But I think we spend a lot of time like explaining ourselves. And to this might sound silly, but like a year ago, I'm the word just anymore. Like, oh, I'm just trying to do this so that I get here, or I'm just checking in to see how this is going, or I'm just wanting to get your feedback or thoughts on this. Like, remove the word just like out of everything you do, your emails, pitching, everything. Like, you're in the room because you're in the room. And by the way, like sometimes people go their whole lives without even attempting to build something or attempting to invest or be in that position. So to be in the room, you're kind of halfway there compared to what a lot of people are not comfortable to do. And so I think like just scaling back on that explanation of like, I just started building this and so now I'm here
That apology
and
almost.
and like I'm really lucky that I've got this far. It's not luck and it's not the word just. It's like I'm here, this is what I'm building. This is why I'm the right person to do it and here's why you should invest. Like keep it short, simple and remove any of like women we have had to explain ourselves for so long of like, we should be in the room for this reason and A, B, and C, and I've done this and that. It's like, cut all that out and just like own it, what you're doing and why you're the best person to do it. And if they don't believe it, well, that sucks to be them.
That's
But
sucked to.
someone will. And also like, I like what you said before, investors are people too. And here's the thing. I have male and female investors. But my first two investors were men and they invested when Wable was merely an idea on my couch. And those people that are on the board now and Dean, who I've recently joined, are like, Holly, you're in the driver's seat. We're here to support you. But we know you're capable. And that feedback coming from men as well who have invested, who've built and sold, exited multiple businesses is great. And I think there are people out there and investors and male investors who really do want to back females and who think that we are capable, more than capable of doing this too. So I think we get bogged down a lot in like the negative conversation and part of it. And sure, that's real and that exists, but there is some really good stuff out there too. But I've had experiences with both. I've had the very best and I've had investors asking for me to pitch to them at a bar at 9 p.m. and I'm like, I'm good, thanks. But
Boy,
that just
there are
happens.
so many bad stories like I've heard,
Yeah.
and like some of the girls I've met that have told me about these stories, I just scratch my head and say like the shame, the shame, the shame. Some of the things that have gone on with.
But you know what? What a bonus. What a bonus, ladies, that person, regardless of gender identity, has
Hmm.
shown you who they are before you've gone and
Yeah.
wasted your time to pitch. Thank God.
Imagine
Like,
you were in business with them. Imagine you were in
right,
business with them. Yeah, like
right.
they did
Imagine.
you a favor. They showed
Yeah,
you up.
lucky you found out now. Thank you very much. On to the next. Keep it moving. Like, so there's some for women it's like don't explain yourself. It's just like just be there and do it and kick ass and
Love it.
anyone else is up yours. The classic yeah. Are you allowed to
Love
say
that.
that on this podcast?
Of course you.
Okay, great. You can take the Aussie out of Melbourne, but you can't take what's the saying? Yeah, you can take the
Yeah,
Aussie out of Melbourne.
but you
Yeah.
can't take the Aussie out. You can't
Yeah.
take the Aussie out of the girl.
Yeah, that's it. Something like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, I think you're actually with Wable, I was really thinking about innovation and like some of the past examples of innovation, like, things like the curb cut effect, where it started out for wheelchairs and then mums with prams. And then you could think about subtitles were originally for deaf people. Now they're on
Yep.
every thing. What has the dating industry got wrong, and where do you think it's going? Because
Hmm.
I feel like this is something everyone should be listening to is in these areas. Like, I feel like you're usually ahead of the time. Every time I've ever spoken to you, I thought you're onto something.
Thank you. It's interesting. I think a lot of what we'll see is leaning towards AI companionship and AI really doing a lot of the grunt work as far as like feeding out profiles that are compatible, not compatible, and again, I think we've seen modern dating and social apps really value like quick decision making and based off of appearance and like the top 5% of people that are perceived as the most attractive at some point, could be fed up an algorithm or whatever else. I think that is where people are getting fatigued by there's more to a person than just someone's image, and particularly the neurodivergent community doesn't really value that in the same way. They value how someone makes them feel and what experiences they've been through. How can I relate to this person? What are their interests? Like, interests is such a huge thing. A lot of people on the spectrum will have a special interest, which by the way, boggles my mind when it comes to the unemployment piece, because like you put someone on the spectrum in a place where they're involved in their interest, they'll work like nobody else. Like, they'll be obsessed with what they're doing. Same with ADHD. So I think we'll see a bit of that. I think I'm trying to find a balance of like, sure, I love what we can do with AI. I love the features and opportunity that opens up for safety. I love, that can help with conversation starters. But I think our community really want that authentic, real human experience. And on Wable, and what's been different is that everyone has an equal opportunity to meet another person. Yes, you can filter out things like age and location, right? But there's no algorithm in which someone is pushed up the stack further than someone else because someone else's profile got more attention to the next. It is an even playing field for everyone, and I think that's the way that it should be. And I'm really proud of that we're doing a few things differently in that space. Community really appreciate that. And so I think,
I think that's a
yeah,
uniqueness. I feel like there's a
yeah.
uniqueness that is people often describe things that they're doing, but that's a unique feature that I think is so rare.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think just the ability that this app will touch someone in some way at a different part of their life, whether you're dating, whether you're looking for a friend, whether you're looking for a job, you need support, you just want to find community. And now we're even looking like, okay, sure, because what Wable has now is 18 and over because there's an element of dating. But I'm even looking now of like so many conversations I have with parents and carers, like the parents want to find each other as well. Like, I'm in Facebook groups with families of people on the spectrum, and the parents are trying to find each other too. Like, if you've never been through this before and all of a sudden your child is diagnosed as autistic, where do you go? And I think that's a real pain point for a lot of people as well. So even in the future of Wable, I'm like, okay, how can I extend this out? I think our audience is even larger than what we're servicing right now. And so I think, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what we do in the future, but we're looking of how we can expand that as well and beyond what we're already doing. I think it's important to nail this, and that's a big job, but who knows?
Well,
Yeah.
we get a little bit of a sprinkle of directional stuff, which is really clear thinking, which is what I love. I absolutely love that. I mean, I feel like the math of, this is $100 million business. I really do.
I hope you're right, and I think so too. But I think the key is like when you look at this, and I have even on my pitch deck. I might actually send you my new pitch deck. You should have a look at it, see what you think. I'd be keen to get your thoughts. But I have in the first couple of pages that this is a billion. We have a billion people part of our over a billion people in our community that are neurodivergent, but they've spent their whole lives kind of feeling like 1 in a billion. And so I think that's the key here and what we're trying to solve. And so it's limitless, I think, what we can do, but what an awesome opportunity. Like, great, the business opportunity is awesome, but if you're someone that wants to make money and also do some good, you're kind of ticking both boxes. And that's why I have the coolest job in the world, basically.
You sure do.
Yeah.
And look, and I want to say thank you because, like, I know with one person in particular, is very close to me, who's neurodivergent and wonderful person.
Yeah.
And I just know that the work you do is like comes from the heart, and it's also incredibly artistic as well. Like it's just the thought processes that you've gone
Thank you
to,
so much.
and the you've gone to the mat for this, and that's something that you know. I remember having a conversation with Hartley Pike, who from SiteMate, he goes, "DK, I could be doing this in 15 years. I would be the happiest man on earth." And I got
Yeah.
that from as well. Like that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yep. Thank you so much. And so interesting because people go, "What's your plan for Wable? Like, do you want to exit? What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Sure. I mean, we're founders. We're all open to exits." But I'm like, also, if again, like, if I'm doing this in 15 years' time and up there kicking it with the best of them in this space, like, hell yeah, I'd be happy with that too. So
Well,
no,
let's turn to
it's
other
a ride.
people's opinions too. I mean, apart from the raising, like, and often when you go into a meeting, and this is something that bugs me, is that everyone's got an opinion and everyone wants to tell you or educate you.
Yeah,
And I've seen so many people that I think are just genuinely rubbish and don't get it or want to talk before they understand.
yeah.
How do you deal with that? I mean, obviously politely in your case, but because like usually you can cut through and understand. You got your plan anyway. How
Mm.
do you deal with all these, maybe I don't want to call them bad actors, but they are unhelpful people who think they know things?
Yeah, I think the more conversations you have, you get a little easier at kind of weeding them out. And by the way, like feedback of all kinds, I take on board. Like some of the best feedback I've had have come out of rejections, and you know that the way the person delivers it is great as well.
That's
So I've
different.
had
That's different.
yeah,
That's different. Like that is, if they can genuinely articulate what the gap is, then
totally.
you've got something to work with. But I'm
Yeah,
talking
what
about people that give you should be doing this.
Yeah,
A lot of them. There's a
everyone
lot of them.
everyone is great at saying what you should and shouldn't be doing. And you know, most of the time that advice comes from or people saying you should be doing this or this is wrong or communicate in that way. I'm going to say 9 times out of 10 those people have never built a business in their life, have never been a founder, and usually they're just wound up at a decision maker at an office because maybe someone got them an internship there and whatsoever. I might get in trouble for saying this, but a lot of the time that is sometimes the case. So I say to founders, like, sometimes the best people you can learn from is other founders who as well who've been there and done that. Like, picture them. And they'll tell you the same thing. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, Joe Bloggs said you should do this." Like, you do learn who to take advice from. But also there's power in like knowing, yeah, if you can learn from people who have been there, done that, great. But you're still the person that's like in customer facing and you're the person that's built the business to the point it is today and you're the ones hearing from your customers. So like you've got to take a little bit with a grain of salt for some of that. But that being said, also I've had guidance from people who have built an exited business, who've worked in tech their whole lives, who've raised money, who've active investors. Like that advice from people who really back you and want to support you, but still let you have the freedom to make decisions as well and be part of it. And it's not like here's what you have to do. It's more like, have you thought about it this way? Let me teach you this.
Asking you questions. Asking you questions, not
Yeah,
telling.
that gets you everywhere as well. So I think it's a fine balance of like really listening to those people and carving your own way in some ways as well. And striking a balance between that is important, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, I wanna put it to everyone, like, is there everyone listening, is there one person or thing that you would love some help with? Like, I know or an introduction to maybe, like, because you got all these people that are helping you. It's like, just throw it out there, like, one person you wanna meet or something like that. Because I want the universe to
oh my
bring you
gosh.
someone here.
I feel like we're like, it's so funny you say this because I've had the same person on my mind for a while.
Ooh,
And I'm desperate to pitch to Richard Branson.
ooh. Well, I tell
Yeah,
you, I do know someone who's interviewed Richard Branson, so I'm gonna do a shout out to 3 people for you. Nathan Chan from Founder,
cool.
top bloke, one of his first interviews.
Yeah,
Michael Lane from Forbes magazine,
cool.
very who
Okay.
was like, there's possibility there, so Michael
Mhm.
would get an email. And
Yeah,
also Michael Burnett, who is at Success Resources. They've
cool.
had Richard
Okay.
Branson in Australia many times.
Okay.
I will open the batting.
I love that. Listen, I am trying to reach that man from every angle. You know, by craziness, like we have one amazing operator on our advisory board, Sam Cox, who was actually Richard Branson's EA for a long time on
Okay, come
Necker
on.
Island. His
Surely.
daughter's name is Holly. He
Oh my
is
God.
neurodivergent. He's
Simpatico.
dyslexic, and he actually invested in a company called Auticon that are an IT consultancy company that only hire autistic talent, and they were our first workplace listed on the app. So we're going to meet at some point. I'm putting it out there into the universe and to your 3 guardian angels there that you just mentioned. I am going to pitch to that. I'm going to pitch to Richard Branson. I want to go out. I want to go out there. Like, honestly, I'll break dance on one of his Virgin yachts or something like Ray Gun did. I'm ready to go. Whatever you. I'll learn to kite surf. I'll jump out of a plane. Like, whatever you want.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've got to make this happen. Anyone listening, if you know Richard, let's make it happen.
I have a second one. Melanie Perkins is my next one. I love her. I think she's the coolest. So that's my next one. She's badass.
She is badass. Like, obviously one of Australia's living gems.
Just so cool. And like how she pitched to Bill Ty, she actually just went out kite surfing and got a check from Bill Ty. And I'm like, I love that. Like, I just love her whole story. I just think she's so cool. So I hope to meet her one day as well.
Okay.
Yeah, those are my 2.
Okay, good.
Of course, now I've met you. Otherwise, you would have been mine if I. But I've already met you now, and we're mates, so
exactly.
it's all good.
We're all good. We're all good.
Exactly.
We're sorted.
Yeah.
Now we have this little. I feeling like it's a just word.
Yeah.
Section which is called the lightning round. Are you ready?
Okay.
You're not Holly Wable. You're Holly Fowler. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah. Let's go.
Was there a deal you said yes to too fast?
No.
Nice. You've already told me the last time you cried. In fact, you told me you did cry. What was the last time in being a founder that you did cry? Was there really this? I just can't underestimate for everyone that this is hard. And they already know it, but was there? I'm giving you some extra time to think here. I really feel like
that's an easy thought. Last time I cried was last week on Subway, actually. So
you didn't say rats again, did you?
No. It was just I had a moment where it's funny. I love what I do and I live and breathe it every day. Switching off is so difficult. Anyone that's like in this, like I can't remember the last time I went to bed and my last thought wasn't about everything I have to do the next day. And so I think I just had a moment of just feeling overwhelmed, not wanting to change my existence, but just being like, shit, this is hard. Like, and I just had a bit of a tear. I think I spoke to my dad on the phone, and so it was a little perfect storm for the waterworks on the subway. So apologies to everyone on the Sea Line.
You can forgive us. Amazing. And what from a dating app perspective, is there a word you would ban? Like, I mean, might not be just, but from a dating app, what's toxic there that you would ban?
I mean, my dating app days are well and truly over, but does it have to be a word? Because I would ban the fish pics. I would ban. And my dad is a serious fisherman. He'd hate me saying that, but we're all done with the fish pics, I reckon. But yeah,
well, Holly, my last question is: I genuinely hope that you have a guilty pleasure. What's your guilty pleasure?
Reality TV. Yeah, reality TV is my guilty pleasure. I love it. Like, I just love it. Just to zone out. And I don't feel much guilt about it, but like a nice icy cold pint on a hot day, like I don't feel guilty about that at all, but there's nothing better.
Like, there's that Aussie girl again coming out.
Cracking open, the sound of opening a can, like it's just magic.
Well, thanks to Posca, I could.
Yeah. Shout out to Posca.
And also, Aisha's got something as well that she's doing.
Aisha, yeah, that drop. It's so delicious. You can drink those way too easily. It's just beautiful. So, especially
last thing, what would you say to a woman that's building right now? One word to a woman that's building a startup right now.
Keep going.
You can go for 5. You go 5 words if you like.
Just keep fucking going. Just keep going. Yeah, like honestly, I think everyone likes to go on long tangents or here's what to do for success or 5 ways you can get success out of your day or whatever. I think it's just like you just keep going no matter what happens. And if you're obsessed with what you do, you just do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, alas, we've come to the end of the podcast. You have been
so fun.
Sterling amazing person. And remember, everyone, we've got homework. Like, we've got to get Holly in front of these two people.
Yeah, just our Sir
And
Richard B.
yeah, well, you are absolutely a shining example, in my opinion, of a founder and the great work you're doing for incredibly important work.
Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
that. And
Thank
like
you. This was
kicking
so
ass
much
in
fun.
New York, and everyone
You
tune in, have a look at Wable, have a look at the design skills and the clarity around positioning, and
Thank
follow Ollie.
you.
So
You gotta come over to New York. When are you coming
uh,
over?
I'll have to. I'm thinking I'm going to be on the other side of the coast in a while, but
Well, let me know. Hopefully we can catch up over this side. It'd be great to do this in person, but this was so much fun. Thanks for having me.
thank you so much. And everyone, check out Holly, and see you in the next episode. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Pleasure.
Raising the status quo, leaving impressions on you, we unforgettable. Why the solution to living